So we know the general quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Now I can solve this by completing the square. To do this, I need to make the coefficient of x squared equal 1 first. So I divide this by I. Of course, I have to divide every term by I. So which is I. And that becomes 1. So that is x squared plus b over ax plus c over I, which is equal to 0. And to make it into a perfect square form, so I have to half of the coefficient of x first. So that means b over I divided by 2, or times a half is the same. So that gives me b over 2i. So that is x plus b over 2i, or square. Now, if I expand these terms out, and it will give me exactly the same up to here with the b over 2i all square extra. I need to minus that out. So that means I minus this out. So b over 2i all square. These are the same now. Now with the plus c over I just need to write this down. So which is plus c over I, which is equal to 0. But b over 2i all square is equal to b over 2i times b over 2i. So that is b times b is b squared. 2 times 2 is 4. A times I is I squared. So that is x plus b over 2i all square minus b square over 4i square plus, so c over I just write this down, and this becomes 0. So now I bring this term on this side, and I bring this term on that side as well. So I bring the negative b over 4i square on that side becomes positive. So I just move this up a bit. So now that becomes x plus b over 2i all square is equal to b square over 4i square, and then these terms are moved on this side becomes minus. So c over I. Now on the right hand side, to simplify this, I need to make the denominators the same. So to do this, I times this by 4i. I times this by 4i. Now on the left hand side, I will get b square over 4i square minus c times 4i is 4ic. I times 4i is 4i squared. The right hand side, because the common denominator is the same, so I can write all in one term. So that is b squared minus 4ic over 4i squared. I just write this down, so that becomes this, okay? So over 2i all squared. Now, if I square root both sides, this one I square root this one, of course I need to put a plus or minus on that side, and these two cancel out. I just clear this first. So that gives me x plus b over 2i is equal to, remember I square root, I have the plus or minus of that, but we know that square root of I over b is equal to square root of I over square root of b. So instead of that, I write like this. So square root of b squared minus 4ic, like this, over square root of 4i squared. Now square root of 4i squared is equal to square root of 4 times square root of I squared. So square root of 4 is 2. Square root of a squared is a. So the bottom here is 2a. I move this term on this side, so it becomes negative. So which is x is equal to negative b over 2a plus or minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. But then they both have the same common denominator. So now I just write all in one term. So which is equal to negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac and square root of that and over 2a. So therefore x is equal to negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So this is the quadratic formula. So when you see the equation in this form and you cannot factorize, so you have to use the quadratic formula. So which is x equal negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Thank you so much for watching.